Hey everyone, welcome to Crypto Conversation. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Let's go ahead and check out some news and updates that we do every morning. And we have some exciting news, some news which are concerned, but we're going to go through all of them. Thank you so much once again for coming back. So let me give you a brief of what we're going to cover. So one of the things that you must have noticed is the Bitcoin price. The Bitcoin price has gone up a little bit up. And there is a reason why it gone up. It went up. I want to share that with you. Right, and also we're going to talk about the Peter Thiel, one of the venture capitalists. Of course, he bought some Bitcoin that we're going to discuss. The South Korea, as we discussed last time, they saw about 30. They, according to the report, according to the survey recently, they had about 30% people in South Korea actually investing in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. I mean, this is a huge number that we have already spoken. And they have come up with some kind of regulations around cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, which we're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about, this is big. So one of the exchanges in China, which was #1 exchange, now they have moved on to Japan. And China is at loss at this point in time. Why? Because they did not let these exchanges operate. And now that exchange is now moving on to Japan. And last, we're going to discuss how cryptocurrencies used in illicit activities, because the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins are bad mouthed because of the illicit activities, because of the bad activities, but criminal activities. However, compared to USD, the volume for the USD crime in USD is much more than the cryptocurrencies. Isn't this something that people should be actually bothered more of than cryptocurrencies? We're going to have a look at all that. Once again, guys, thank you so much for coming back. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to this channel so that you're updated on daily basis on what's happening around the cryptocurrency space, and at the same time SEOs, news and things like that. So wonderful. Welcome back, and let's start with the coinmarketcap.com. So one thing that I do want to share here is the market cap. If you look at the market cap, $687. I mean, you may not see the significant growth in the Bitcoin price compared to what you see in the market cap. 584 was the number on 31st of December 2017. Look at the market cap right now. It has grown almost about 100 billion, correct? But if you look at the price of the Bitcoin, that has not grown significantly. I mean, when you look at the price of Bitcoin, you will say, okay, it's not growing anymore. But when you look at the overall market, actually it's growing. And what's happening over here is a lot of money is actually flowing into other altcoins, like maybe Ripple, maybe Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Litecoin, Stellar, IOTA, NEM Dash, right? Most of the cryptocurrencies are up by 2 figures, like we saw this yesterday as well. Even Stellar, for example, for those of you who are actually investing in Ripple should definitely be looking at Stellar also, because Stellar has a similar platform as well. So a lot of money is flowing into other cryptocurrencies. And so, I mean, you might have an opinion that maybe, which is not good, because the BTC's dominance is right now only 37%, and which is going on reducing. But however, I think this is not really bad. It's, you know, because if you compare 37% with this, right, it's all good. It's just that right now, it's just that people are now aware of the other projects also, and they are investing in those projects as also. But does not mean that the Bitcoin is not growing. Bitcoin is also growing along with the other cryptocurrencies. So that's the way I take it. Now, there is a small report that news.bitcoin.com has put up on their site that says market update, cryptocurrencies see bigger gains after the New Year's Day. I mean, if you only look at the Bitcoin price, you won't see that. But overall, the coin market cap, overall cryptocurrencies markets has definitely grown by about at least 100 billion. So what does it mean? Does it mean that Bitcoin is not performing well? What it actually means is the overall space, overall the cryptocurrency space is growing. That is why we see the less number of Bitcoin share, which is good. That's what we want, right? We don't want everything like 50% to go into one particular cryptocurrencies. We want the entire ecosystem to grow. And that's exactly what is happening. If you look at the total market cap and the price of the Bitcoin, and I don't think there is anything to worry about just because Bitcoin is losing its share. I would put it rather way that the entire cryptocurrency space is growing, right? So that's the beautiful article that they have written here, that says how cryptocurrencies have grown over the last 2 days. Alternative digital currencies are stealing the show. Definitely, there are some awesome projects that people really want to be a part of. For example, Cardano, for example, IOTA, for example, Dash and NEM. So Verge, amazing projects. So definitely people are actually diversifying, which is good, but overall the ecosystem is definitely growing. Now let's talk about the price of the Bitcoin. So Peter Thiel, right? Peter Thiel is one of the he is an American entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and philanthropist. I think the news is that he bought some Bitcoins, right? Bitcoin rises after report says that an early Facebook investor. So he is also an early Facebook investor, and he also invested, he was also a co-founder of PayPal, I guess, along with Elon Musk, right? And he is the early investor in Facebook. Now he is investing into Bitcoin, and as per the report, as you can see here, the PayPal co-founder and early Facebook investor has bought millions of dollars in Bitcoin already. The Wall Street Journal reported, citing sources familiar with the situation. So he bought some more Bitcoins, and that is why, as per this report, it says that is why the price of the Bitcoin went a little bit up, right? Which is exciting. So just imagine the kind of people who are actually investing into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Definitely they are smart enough, they are intelligent guys, they are investors, they know what they are doing. And if they are investing in Bitcoin, this is definitely a sign for the most of the people who are like newbies or who don't understand Bitcoin so much, but still hold Bitcoins. First of all, I would never advise somebody to invest into Bitcoin unless until you understand. But these motivations, these guys, when they invest, they talk about how Bitcoin is the next big thing. I mean, one of the news, he said that he also said that the people don't understand Bitcoin. Peter Thiel, he said that the people don't understand Bitcoin. And the recent price rise in the Bitcoin is because of his investment. So which is good to hear that as well, right? Moving on to the next news. So Korea has deposited over 2 trillion won. It's their own fiat currency called as won, not USD. Now this is big. We already discussed about how 30% of the South Korean are actually investing into cryptocurrency. So there was a calculation done. It says the balance of deposits as of December 12 last year, which is 2016, amounted to 2.067 trillion won, right? Which is equivalent to 1.95 billion. This is a 64-fold surge from 32 billion. Look at this number. So this was 1.95 billion last year, and this year it is 32 billion at the end of 2016. This is the first time that the total amount of deposits in the virtual currency market has been confirmed. 2 trillion of fiat currency going into cryptocurrencies, or maybe digital assets, whatever you call. 2 trillion of one, guys. This is a huge number. Stay tuned versus commercial bank. What they have done is now lawmakers look to act fast. Now they are coming up with some kind of regulations. What's the regulation? I'm just going to read that out to you. Before that, the National Assembly and the financial authorities are trying to strengthen the management and supervision of exchanges. We have to hurry. Now, South Korea is a country which has never opposed a blockchain invention and cryptocurrency invention. And the kind of regulations that they're drawing is something like this, right? So South Korea government's Bitcoin regulations from this week. Government will impose regulations based on the global trend. Global trend is the key, guys. Now, when we talk about countries like India or maybe other countries which are developing countries, what they really have to look at is the global trend. Because if you don't look at the global trend and if you keep your eyes shut, your decisions may not be in the favor of the country or may not be in the favor of the growth. You really need to see the global trend. So that's what exactly South Korea is doing. So South Korea will impose regulations based on the global trend. They will see what US is doing. They will see what Japan is doing. They will see what other countries are doing, and accordingly then. Special cryptocurrencies law drafted. Exchanges not compliant with policies cannot operate. So if you have an exchange, if there are any exchanges in South Korea, they have to follow certain rules and regulations and policies, without which they will not be able to operate. And open. They should be open towards and they are open towards Bitcoin blockchain tech development. I mean, this is huge, guys. A country coming ahead and saying that we are open towards any Bitcoin and blockchain development, any ideas that you want to build, any product that you want to build, we are open. And this is so encouraging for all the techies out there, for all the developers, even for the people out there, even for the citizens. They know that the government is open-minded. They really want to look into this new technology, and they are there to support. So these are the kind of regulations probably they will be coming out in South Korea. This is so positive, guys, and this is amazing. You know, I just love reading these 3 lines here. And that is how most of the countries should actually be doing, most of the developing countries, you know, to support this innovation, to support this wonderful technology, which is amazing. Moving on to the next news. So the Bitcoin exchange that once dominated China is heading to Japan. Now, this is what I was talking about. Now, just imagine if South Korea would have done something like China. What would have been? I mean, those 30% investors, first of all, South Korea will not be able to take a part in this global trend. Any country that decides not to support the blockchain ideas or cryptocurrencies will not be able to be a part of this global trend. And that is what exactly happened with China. So one of the biggest exchanges in China called Huobi. Huobi was #1 exchange, guys. There was a time when Huobi was doing the largest volume in terms of cryptocurrencies. China was the largest market, and they banned all the cryptocurrency exchanges. Now Huobi has moved to Japan, and they have collaborated with SBI Holdings, right? SBI is something that we have already spoken on this channel. SBI Holdings is one of the biggest financial firm in Japan, and they are tying up with the Huobi group to open up a new cryptocurrency. This is the logo for the SBI Holdings. So they are opening up new cryptocurrency exchanges in Japan. Japan right now is leading from front this blockchain development. I think Japan will emerge as a superpower. I mean, they are already a superpower, but they will emerge as a superpower because they are so open-minded. There's so much in the favor of this new innovations and technology. You know, so it is China's loss and Japan's gain. That's the way I would like to put it, right? It's China's loss and Japan's gain. One of the biggest firm, Huobi, is partnering up with SBI Holdings from Japan. What do you have to say about this? Put your opinion in the comment below. Would love to hear that. Moving on to the next one. So what do we have in 2018, right? So record-breaking 2017 brought Bitcoin and altcoin drastically increased mainstream acceptance. And yes, in terms of acceptance, in terms of awareness, in terms of people getting on board in cryptocurrencies, the 2017 has been the significant year. One of those would be called as Wall Street. It was first year ever when the cryptocurrencies were recognized on Wall Street. Until 2016, it never ever had happened. In 2017, the cryptocurrencies Bitcoin got that Wall Street recognition, right? So things to look out for 2018. It says Nasdaq Bitcoin futures, which is they have already announced. Okay, so by the way, so CBOE and CME Growth futures are already trading. I hope you know that already. And then what do you have in 2018? You have Nasdaq Bitcoin futures coming. You have NYSE Bitcoin ETFs. These are probables, not confirmed, but these are probables. CBOE Bitcoin ETFs, scaling a lower fee, of course, the Bitcoin, the scaling, the Lightning Network probably will be, are being implemented, are being tested. So hopefully that will be operational. That will reduce the Bitcoin transaction fee and will make the Bitcoin transaction faster so that nobody complains that Bitcoin cannot be the #1 cryptocurrencies. Certainly it can be if the scaling scaling can be implemented on it. More adoption due to all of these, right? And many billions of institutional money coming to Bitcoin and crypto, many billion of institutional money, and this is so true, right? So one of the things that I do want to share is in some countries it says the cryptocurrency mania has formed. The investors of always have begun to engage in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. In South Korea, speculation around the cryptocurrency market has reached a point in which the South Korea Prime Minister has released a public statement addressing the sudden increase in the demand for the digital currency. Now, this is something that we have also seen in India, right? So these are the things that we should be accepting in 2018, and which are all very optimistic and very positive. This was an interesting article that I found that talks about crypto versus stock, and this is very interesting and very shocking. As you can see the picture itself, how it shows stock markets and cryptocurrency markets fighting. So one thing that I want to highlight is here the top stock performance for 2017. Let's have a look at the last performance chart here. 117% goes Zimbabwe Industrial Index, Argentina 77%, 68%, 59, 52%, right? Now let me show you over here also. As you can see, major markets 36%, 27%. Now let's have a look at the cryptocurrency performance. Ripple 28,963%, Dash 9,337%, Ethereum 8,000%, Bitcoin 1,309%. If you can see, one thing that is to take away from here is that cryptocurrencies have outperformed the stock market, the traditional market. Look at the difference. This is all we're talking about, 2 figures, and these are actually 5 figures, 4 figures, and most of them are actually 4 figures, right? And so cryptocurrencies actually outperformed the stock market. Now within cryptocurrencies, if you see, Ethereum and Dash and Litecoin has actually outperformed Bitcoin. The Bitcoin has grown just about 1390%. But if you look at the growth of Dash and Ethereum, it's massive. It's almost close to 10,000% growth, guys. So this is something again to learn. This is something that we have noticed. Of course, Bitcoin is huge in terms of the price. But if you look at the you look at the growth, if you look at the multiplication is more on Dash in Ethereum than it is on Bitcoin, guys. So this is definitely, if you are looking at it, if you're involved into cryptocurrency, this is definitely something to consider of. I'm not saying just put everything into remove everything from Bitcoin. I'm just saying that this is how the trend has been for the last year. Will the trend remain for the next year or so? Nobody knows. But it's always good to have a diversified portfolio, because as you can see, even the coinmarketcap.com, the overall market cap is growing. However, the dominance thing is right now decreasing. So it's always better to look at some other interesting projects as well and get involved instead of just sticking to one. That's just my opinion. Please leave your opinion in the comment box below as well. Well, this is something that how can we not read? David Stockman says cryptocurrency investors are stupid speculators. Wow. Now he has a point here, right? Now, because I have seen the way most people have approached the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, the way they approach any traditional investment. And so one thing that he has mentioned here is, let me read this out first. He says that it's basically a class of really stupid speculators who have convinced themselves that trees grow to the sky. It will burn out in a spectacular crash. All of these latter day speculators will have their hands burned to a crisp, and they will learn the proper lesson. How daunting is that, guys? This is like completely scaring people who are actually investing. So this is the way I have found. So if somebody has an approach of investing in cryptocurrencies just to make money and considering this as a as something like golden goose. I mean, you put 1,000, it will become a crore, or it will become 10,000. That's now not how cryptocurrencies really work. The approach really has to be different. The approach has to be this way, something like this, that when you are investing into cryptocurrencies, when you are investing into blockchain space, what essentially you are investing is into a startup, into a new technology, into a new project. And it comes with it rewards, which is in couple of multiple thousands, but it also has a risk. Consider your investment going into a startup which can do wonder for you, which can give you 1,000-fold return, but at the same time that startup might also fail. And this is what the approach should be. So how do you actually invest in a startup? You invest in a startup after having studied everything about it. You don't invest in a startup just because your friend said so, or just because your family member said so, just because other people are doing it, right? You invest into a project because you are convinced, you know that it's going to work, and then you hold on to it. It might need you to hold for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or even 1 year, but you keep holding on to it because you believe in the startup, you believe in the project, and then you are not affected by this volatility which is there in the cryptocurrencies. So this is definitely stands true for the people who are not actually doing their homework and they are investing into different cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoin, without doing their homework, without even knowing what they are actually invested in. So he has a point definitely for sure, but however, one thing is to say, the cryptocurrencies are here to stay, the blockchain is here to stay, and what we need to be wise at in picking up the right ones, picking up the ones which really promising to change the world. That's just my take on it. What do you think about that? The last one is very interesting. So it says the cryptocurrencies used in illicit activities is small compared to the USD volume. Now this is so true. Now this is definitely for the people who say that the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies can be used for any anti-money laundering and criminal purposes. Well, there was a survey done, and what they found out, the hearing on the bill number S1241, modernizing AML, which is anti-money laundering laws to combat money laundering and terrorist finance, took place, chaired by Chuck whatever. Let's have the last. This is what I found interesting. So what she said is Jennifer Fowler, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Terrorist Financing and Financial Crimes at the US Department at the Treasury. She claims that although virtual currencies are used for illicit transactions, the volume is small compared to the volume of illicit activities through traditional financial services. Isn't it amazing? I mean, people, the one thing that they find why cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is bad, because it can be used for AML, can be used for. But what about the AML and illicit activities or terrorist activity that has been happening so far when there was no cryptocurrencies at all? I mean, that's not a new phenomena. That's been there for a long time. They existed even before cryptocurrencies and blockchain existed. And there are only few people who talk about that. So this guy over here actually has beautiful comment here. I'll leave the link in the description below. He says, damn straight, illicit activities have been using conventional methods to launder money long before cryptocurrency existed. It's nothing new and easier to track a Bitcoin transaction than printed fiat or gold. Exactly. Bitcoin transactions can be tracked anytime on the blockchain, but you cannot really track a rupee note. Saying cryptocurrency is only for illegal activities is big good for politicians who are either jealous or scared of change. It is more of a personal problem than a national security threat. Wow. Now, this is something that I would take away from here. The greatest threat cryptocurrency poses is to the centralized power of the banking institution and the government-backed fiat, the institution of which are run by mobsters who have simply found a way to operate within the bounds of the law until gaining the position of the making the law. So they can make the law according to what suits them. I will never understand the motivation of a scammer, because to me, it has always looked to be the same amount of work, if not more work for a greater risk than reward. Of course, they have made it. There is no risk in their positions until we, the people, find a way to punish the powers that be for the authorities they have committed against the people, guys. So, what do you have to say? Do you think cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin are a way for illicit activities, for criminal activities? Or do you think that have been in existence more on the US dollar than in the cryptocurrencies? Let me know your opinion in the comment box below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I know it's a long video. I try to keep it short as much as I can. But if you're still there, give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you.